Hi guys, my name is Stephen Gray. I'm the CTO and co-founder of the Code Registry. Recording this video as a sneak peek into our product because we've been very busy building something quite cool in quite a short amount of time. We're planning on onboarding first customers very soon, and that is on track. So yeah, just wanted to show this off and see what people think. So our mission at the Code Registry is to democratize software development and code knowledge for all businesses, which sounds quite ambitious, and it is. But we achieved this by developing an easy to understand and digest code analysis and intelligence tool for non-developers. And at the moment on the market, there's nothing that we've found that offers anything like this, and the data points we analyze for the non-developer market. So we believe we are first to market, and we're quite excited by what we're building. So without any further delay, I'm going to dive in and show you what we've built. So I'm going to create a completely fresh account here. So we don't use any passwords, it's all based on passcodes. I'm just going to bring that up here on my other screen. Everything's based on passcodes and passkeys, so secure passkeys or biometric logins. So what this is going to do is going to create a demo project which we create for every new account. And then it's going to log me in to see it. So this is the access to our platform. We've got a demo project here, but because we haven't subscribed to any billing plan, we can't actually access that. So I'm going to quickly do that now. All billing is via Stripe. And then when we get taken back to that same page, when Stripe's finished doing its thing, so you can see now we're now subscribed and we can access the platform. So here is our list of projects on our dashboard. We're calling these intellectual property projects. A project can contain any number of code vaults. So you can see here there's a back end, a front end, and a marketing website code vault within this one demo project. You can think of each code vault as a part of your project, but it's completely up to you how you group these together. So you may manage many teams working on many different projects. You may group those teams' projects into a single project on the Code Registry so that all those teams' projects are together. Or like we've done here, you may have a single website and the code vaults within that project are the repositories that make up that one website. So here we've got backend, front end, and marketing. Each code vault can be a Git repository or a file archive. We support any Git server, so GitHub, GitLab, whatever it is that you use. And our ethos is not to get in the way of any existing dev process that you have. So we don't replace your current Git server. We simply take the access details we need, and we sit alongside to do our analysis, and we securely mirror your code to our own private repos that nobody else can access, and that's where we do our analysis. So we don't get in the way of any existing process. So when a project is created, lots of different processes are fired off to do all of our analysis, and we call each of the data points we analyze a facet. So I'm just going to click through to a project, and that's where you'll see the data that we're outputting. So far in our test, it takes about 5 minutes for these results to pop in, and that's across any number of code vaults in a project. So say you have a project with about 10 different repositories in. Because all of our analysis is simultaneous and all serverless and scalable, it all happens within about 5 minutes. In our test, we've noticed that the security scanner, which is a very deep scan of all of your code, but also all of your dependencies, that can sometimes take a bit longer, so we're talking maybe 10 or 15 minutes there. But generally, yeah, so what you start to see is within about 5 minutes. So what we're looking at here is a modern dashboard showing summaries of all of the facets that we're analysing. So we've got common languages and file types, and the lines of code in each. We've got complexity, where we have analysed every line of code in every file in every language, and we've calculated an overall complexity score for your code base. We've got the cost to replicate estimate, which is our own bespoke algorithm to give each code base a valuation of what it might cost to write that amount of code again. We've got analysis of all of your open source components, third-party dependencies, and we've got things like analysis of the Git history and who's contributed to the code, who the top contributors are. And most importantly for most people, we've got a summary of what security should be found and a snapshot security status here. Now for a non-developer, it may be impressive to look at, but it may not make a lot of sense straight away. What's really cool is that every facet we've analysed, we've passed through our AI assistant Ada, named after the first programmer, Ada Lovelace. She's aware of all of these insights, and by this point has already generated her own, which I'll show you shortly. So let's have a quick test now. Some responses take a bit longer, as they require her to get the data we've analysed and then review the data and return the answer to the question you've asked in a nice way. So you can ask Ada about general topics relating to intellectual property, coding standards, programming languages, and so on. For example, what languages have you found in my code, and then more information about each of those languages. So let's try a few here. So who's contributed the most code? And because we're looking at the project level, Ada knows to look at the data across all of the code vaults within your project, which could be any number. So we know that Mary has worked on this many lines of code. So let's see, what else can you tell me about Mary? So she's now going to give me a developer profile specifically about Mary. So this is how much she's worked. These are some recent changes. She's contributed a significant amount of code to my project. Okay, so what about programming languages? And then based on this data, we can say, okay, so I can see that there's PHP here. So what is PHP and why would we use it so much? So she's very good at analysing the data we've generating her own insights, and then answering questions in her own way as well. Because this is an AI tool, she responds sometimes quite a unique fashion, and every response is different, which is quite interesting. And we've also given some sample chat ideas, so you can pick from some of the existing questions here. How can I get the most value from your platform? She knows what the features are of our platform and how you can get the most value out of it, and so on. But yeah, that's very cool. So I'm gonna dive into some of the dedicated facet pages. So some of these facets we have given dedicated pages to dive into a lot more detail. So if I look at the code complexity page, you can see that we're not just giving you a chart and giving you some data, but we're also explaining what you're looking at, what it means, and then we've got insights that Ada has generated from that data, where she explains, what the score is, what it means to have a high score, low score, what's contributed to the score. So the ethos is not just to give people data, but to explain what the data means, and then what you do with that information is up to you. So whether you go away and review this with your team, or whatever, that's completely up to you as a user. And you can look at these insights based on each vault within that project. So if we look at the security page, which obviously is a very important one, our security scanner scans over 4,000 rules, and we scan not just your own code bases, but we look at all of your dependencies and third-party packages as well, because as a developer it's very common to use third-party packages within a project. So Ada has explained the summary of it. She's told you what the most urgent issues are in each code base, not just again with your dependencies as well as your own code. And then you can delve right into some very, very deep detail in our list of all of the issues here. So here we can see that on the dependencies tab there are 33 issues ranked by severity relating to third-party packages within our code. This is across the entire project, so we know what file, what line that package was included in, and our scanner is telling us what versions of these are vulnerable, which will suggest to the developers how to fix these. This is a good reminder to explain that all of this information is available to Ada. So I can ask things like, are there any security relating to Facebook? For example, I don't know if there's any answers for that, but let's see. Yep, so Ada is saying, yeah, we've detected a security issue related to Facebook in your code base. The issue is categorized as a code error with a severity level of error. So it's then going to say what file it is in and how to go about fixing it. So anything you can do in the dashboard, you can also do with Ada as a personal AI assistant. So you could just sit on the dashboard, not delve into any more pages, and do everything with Ada. On our open source components page, our system has built or generated a complete SBOM, which is a software bill of materials. So this is a complete mapping of all third-party packages and dependencies used in your code, and then we've used that data to analyze which packages are outdated, how many there are in total, how many are outdated, whether some how many lines of code there are, so how much they contribute to your code base, and then if any of them have licenses, we've also got that, so you can see what licenses they have, find out more information about one of the licenses, and you can even look at a checklist to see if you are compliant with the requirements to have that package in your software. And then of course we've got the Insights Maker as well on this page. The AI Analysis and Insights page acts as a useful way to see all the AI insights that Ada has generated across all of your code vaults, or for a specific code vault in the project. So it's a good way of sort of building up talking points to take to a meeting, or just to get up to speed after a code update. So we've got all the insights from the other pages, but we've also got things like a summary of every language detected, what the pros and cons of those are, and more. So as a CTO managing lots of teams and lots of developers, this Git analysis or Git history page is where I spend a lot of my time. From here we can see a list of all changes from all developers across all of the code vaults in a project, which as a developer, even for developers, it's not easy to find that information out this quickly and easily across lots of different repositories. But you can see it all here, and you can search for changes related to specific topics or keywords, and you can do that with Ada as well. So you can say to Ada, for example, let's try this one, show me recent changes relating to the header. Let's see if she's got anything for me there. So this is again across the entire project, any code vault, and she'll know what code vault in the project is relating to. So here we go. So here's some recent changes related to the header in your code base, and then we've got on this vault, we've got this change by this person on this date. So all of that is available to Ada as well. And something really cool is if you, for example, got a project, got a vault within a project where you've not had recent updates and you're wondering what the latest changes are or what they've been up to, we've developed this developer profile. So this will look at a single developer across your entire project and code vaults within it and see what they've been up to, what changes they've made recently across any of those code vaults, which can be very useful information. So the cost to replicate page shows the output of our proprietary algorithm to estimate what it would cost to write your project again from scratch. And we don't know the ins and outs of your business or your business model, but this is a very practical valuation of your code based on things like how much code there is, written in how many languages. We've got like the going market rate for every language on the market. We've got stats on how complicated language is and how much you could write in a day realistically. And we use all these various data points to give you this estimation. It's not going to be perfect, and it's something we'll continue to update and optimize, but it's another data point where before you wouldn't have had one. And we do this for each of the code vaults. So you can see here there's an estimate for each one. And you can see that the insight from Ada talking about that and what that means for each vault as well. So I'm going to look at a single code vault now where you're going to see a very similar dashboard, but there's a few key differences. So we're now looking at a dashboard for a single code vault, which is the front end code vault of the demo project. So what's cool is that you can see now on a single code vault dashboard how these data points have changed over time. So if I look at the security status, I can see that between version 1.0.0 and version 1.0.1, some security issues have been resolved or removed from the codebase, which is really valuable information over time. So you may be wondering, what does that mean? So what does the version number 1.0.1 mean? What is 1.0.0? How have you got an old version of the code, and how does that all work? We've developed a secure automated code replication system that uses your original code source and replicates that code on a schedule. So by default it's on a monthly schedule, but this can be set by yourself. You can configure it to any schedule you need, weekly or monthly, on any day. So for example, say you've got a project with 5 code vaults. Each of those code vaults could be maintained by a different development team, and they could have their own development release schedule. So you could set the automatic replication schedule for each code vault to align with that development team's release schedule. So when a code vault is first added, we give it a version of 1.0.0, and we automatically generate a PDF report, which is like a snapshot report of the state of the code as it stands. And we send you an email like this, so you get this automatically, roughly within 10 or 15 minutes of adding the vault. and you get this for each vault in a project, and that links to a PDF report like this, which essentially is like a really easy to digest format for people on the go or wanting to forward it to colleagues. And it's essentially all the data you get in the dashboard, but in this PDF format. And you can go through this, and it's got all the topics covered, the same topics. It's got the insights from Ada, charts, graphs, and so on. And then on subsequent updates to the code, we bump that number by 0.0.1, so 1.0.1. And then we send you a similar email automatically. So this is going to happen automatically every month or every week based on your configuration. And you can see now it's 1.0. Or the next version number. You get the same snapshot report for the new version, but then you also get a comparison report, which is really cool. So this is a separate PDF report which we automatically generate and send, which compares the new version 1.0.1 to the previous version 1.0.10. So you get this in your inbox, and it's a really easy, simple, automatic way to see what has changed in your code vault over time. So you know, if new security issues have been introduced or some have been fixed, if new components have been introduced or some have been removed, if there's a big bump in code contributors and so on. And again, this has got an explanation from Ada on what happened, what it means if some of these data points have increased or decreased, and so on. And all of these reports are also available through the dashboard, through these buttons here, download PDF report, and also when you're viewing a comparison in the dashboard from one version to another. On this page here, which is a dedicated version comparison page on the web dashboard, you can also download those comparison PDFs here. And those, all of those reports can also be fully white labeled. So as long as your package that you're subscribed to allows white label reporting, which the higher one does, in your team settings page, you can fully customize these reports. So say you want to change the name and the logo out to yours, change the fonts, change the primary colors to match your branding, you can do that here. You can also rename Ada in there, select a new avatar for Ada, remove various little aspects of the report. You can do that all within here. And while we're here, I'll just finish off by looking at the team. So every user has a team they're given by default. The team is the element that needs the billing. So the team has to have the subscription, but then a team can have any number of users within that subscription. So a team subscribes, and as a team owner or a team manager, you can invite users to that team as long as the package you're on has multi-user access and permissions. So as long as it does, in the team members section, you can invite team members, and then you can set their role. A manager can do essentially everything in the team, same as an admin, and a user can only read, so they can only view projects and vaults. And the permissions we give you are quite granular. So you can give a user permission to one single vault in a project, or to an entire project, or to 2 projects out of 3, and so on. But yeah, so that's a quick demo, and I hope it's given you a good taste of what we're building and what we're coming out with in a couple of months. And we're planning to onboard our first customers soon. And for those first customers, we'll be manually onboarding everybody to make sure everything's up and running smoothly and people are happy with the value they're getting. And if anyone wants to know more, you can message me on Mark Purdy, our CEO, on LinkedIn, or you can also get through to us through our website contact form. And on our website, you can also join the waitlist to be one of those first customers. All right, thank you very much. I'll speak to you soon.